For decades, Canada and the United States have been more than neighbors. They've been partners, friends, and even family. They share the world's longest undefended border where the flow of tourists and commerce has always been vibrant. But in 2025, a significant shift has occurred. Thousands of Canadians are quietly turning away from the U.S., not just in words but in actions, shaking America's tourism economy. Last year, Canadians spent over $20 billion in the U.S., making Canada the largest source of international tourists. This year, however, the numbers show a severe decline. Road border crossings have dropped by over 32%, with nearly 900,000 fewer trips in just 1 month. Air travel bookings from Canada have plummeted by over 70%. 7 U.S. states, heavily reliant on Canadian visitors, are feeling the impact acutely. This decline is not just about numbers, it affects jobs, businesses, and cross-border relationships. Join us as we explore the 7 states hit hardest and why this silent boycott could reshape tourism for years to come. From bustling cities to small towns, this story is changing the face of the two nations' relationship. Florida has long been Canada's favorite winter escape. Millions swap snow for sunshine, flocking to Miami's beaches, Orlando's theme parks, and Tampa's golf courses. In 2024, nearly 4 million Canadian visitors came to Florida, contributing an estimated $6 billion to the state's tourism economy. But in 2025, things are changing. Border crossings have dropped by over 30%, and flight bookings from Canada have plummeted by more than 70%. Florida is feeling the chill of this decline. Hotels along the coast report lower than expected occupancy during peak season. Golf resorts, once bustling with Canadian visitors, are offering deep discounts to fill tee times. Real estate agents, accustomed to Canadians buying vacation homes, note declining sales in key snowbird markets. Tourism supports over 1.6 million jobs in Florida, and economists warn that even a small decline could threaten tens of thousands of jobs. A tourism executive stated, "Losing Canadian visitors doesn't just hurt tourism, it ripples through our entire economy." For Florida, 2025 is not just a quieter winter but a warning sign of deeper troubles ahead, threatening the future of tourism and the communities that depend on it. New York, particularly Buffalo and Niagara Falls, has long relied on its proximity to Canada. Canadian visitors flocked for weekend shopping, sightseeing, and family outings. For many businesses, they were not just visitors but part of daily life. But in 2025, these familiar streets are growing quieter. Border crossings have dropped by over 23% in some areas compared to last year. Retailers near the bridges report declining sales, emptier parking lots, and fewer weekend shoppers. Even downtown Niagara Falls attractions, once bustling with Canadian families, are seeing thinner crowds. The slowdown isn't limited to border towns. In New York City, Canadian visitors once spent around $600 million annually, a crucial pillar of the state's tourism economy. Experts warn that a 10% decline in Canadian travel could cost the U.S. $2.1 billion and 14,000 jobs, with New York among the hardest hit. A local tourism operator shared, "I've lost over 60% of my Canadian business." This decline not only affects revenue but also threatens public services, posing long-term challenges for communities large and small. Las Vegas, a symbol of entertainment and adventure, has always been a familiar getaway for Canadians. In 2024, over 1.5 million Canadian visitors came, making Canada one of the city's largest international markets. They spent hundreds of millions on casinos, resorts, theaters, and shopping centers. But in 2025, the casinos are noticeably quieter. Flight bookings from Canada to Las Vegas have dropped sharply, with airlines reporting lower demand for direct routes. Some resort managers note softer bookings, especially in the spring and summer seasons when Canadian tourism once filled the calendar. In a city where tourism accounts for nearly 1/3 of all jobs, even a moderate decline impacts thousands, from hotel staff and performers to taxi drivers and restaurant owners. A resort executive said, "We built this city for visitors. When they slow down, the whole city feels it." This decline is not just temporary, but could reshape Nevada's economic future. California, with its coastlines, cities, and luxury shopping streets, has long been a dream destination for Canadians. From San Diego's beaches to Los Angeles boutiques, the state attracted Canadian visitors year-round. In 2024, they accounted for nearly 15% of international visitors, spending billions on hotels, restaurants, and entertainment. But in 2025, this steady stream is noticeably slowing. Luxury retailers in Los Angeles report softer sales from international customers. Hotels along the Pacific Coast note quieter booking seasons. Even theme parks reliant on Canadian families are seeing thinner crowds. A Beverly Hills store owner reflected, "We used to count on Canadians every season. Now it feels like a missing piece in the rhythm of the year." Tourism fuels over 1 million jobs in California, and this decline could impact small businesses, service industries, and seasonal employment. If the trend continues, the effects will spread, reshaping California's economic landscape. Arizona once came alive with the voices and laughter of Canadians. From Phoenix's golf courses to Tucson's resorts, Canadians built communities to escape the winter cold. In 2024, they made up a significant share of seasonal visitors, contributing to local tourism and real estate markets. But in 2025, neighborhoods once bustling with festivals and golf tournaments are falling quiet. Rental bookings have softened, community centers report a drop in Canadian memberships, and real estate agents note less interest from snowbird buyers. Tourism generates over $3 billion annually in Arizona, with Canadians deeply woven into that fabric. This decline could affect hotels, restaurants, medical centers, and businesses serving seasonal communities. A community center director observed, "It's not just visitors we're losing, it's part of our identity." Arizona faces a quieter future, challenging the vibrancy of its local communities. Michigan, with cities like Detroit, Port Huron, and Sault Ste. Marie, has relied on easy cross-border movement. Canadian visitors filled malls, attended sporting events, and supported small businesses. In 2024, Michigan's border crossings recorded over 3.6 million vehicle entries from Canada, accounting for 28% of all U.S. crossings. But in 2025, this traffic is slowing dramatically. Retailers near the border report softer sales, events like hockey games or summer festivals see smaller crowds, and the day-tripper economy, Canadians crossing to shop, is drying up. In a state where cross-border commerce sustains communities, this absence is deeply felt. A local business owner said, "We built our services around cross-border life. Without it, survival gets harder every month." Michigan's border towns are not just facing a business downturn, but the erosion of a familiar way of life. Washington's border towns like Blaine and Bellingham were once vibrant hubs of cross-border life. Canadian visitors from British Columbia kept restaurants, gas stations, and outlet malls thriving. In 2024, Washington's border crossings handled over 3.2 million personal vehicle entries, with Blaine accounting for nearly a quarter of the traffic. But in 2025, the streets feel emptier. Gas stations, reliant on Canadian drivers, report steep sales declines. Shopping centers designed for Canadian shoppers sit quieter. Seasonal festivals and farmers markets struggle with reduced turnout. For towns like Blaine, the Canadian connection was not just economic, but personal. A longtime resident reflected, "It's like losing half your family overnight." With thin profit margins, a 30–40% drop in cross-border traffic is an existential threat. Washington is bracing for a quieter future, with profound impacts on its border communities. The bond between Canada and the U.S. is more than tourism. It's about trust, familiarity, and a shared way of life across the world's longest undefended border. But in 2025, this relationship is shifting. From Florida to Washington, the absence of Canadian visitors is shaking economies, communities, and traditions. The declining numbers, 32% fewer road trips, 70% fewer flight bookings, are not just statistics but signs of a deeper change. The question is not just when the numbers will recover, but whether the spirit of cross-border friendship can be restored. Small border towns and big cities alike are feeling this loss. Have you witnessed these changes? Quieter streets, emptier stores, or familiar places losing their rhythm? Share your stories in the comments. Thank you for watching and staying informed.